Hello and welcome to Sacred Fire Radio, to Sacred Fire. I'm your host, Josh, and with me is Florence.
Hi, Josh.
Hi, Florence. How are you navigating this new era?
Good. Really looking forward to today. We've been doing the idea here for cycles and cycles of the Mayan cycles there. And so we're ready to go, and the 21st of December is here, and and we'd like to welcome all our listening audience today, too.
Absolutely. This is a very exciting time for us, and we're so grateful to be able to share this moving into this heart space, into this creative energy with all of our listeners, with all of you. We have a wonderful show lined up. We have 3 guests, and each of them have a very powerful and unique perspective from the heart. Our show is all about seeding the new today.
Right.
And doing so from the heart energy.
That's the name of the show. Absolutely. Seeding the new. And we have some guests that are going to help us do that today. And Clint Carleton is one of them. And you're going to introduce Clint in a few minutes.
In a few minutes, yeah. Clint is a shamanic energy medicine practitioner, and he's actually just finished a meditation at Chichen Itza, at the sacred ruins in Mexico, the Mayan ruins. And so he's joining us immediately following this. This is going to be very exciting.
I understand there's a lot of people there.
He estimated 100,000 people there.
Wow.
To celebrate the entrance into the new and our birthing of our higher aspect of ourselves.
Yeah. That'll be really interesting to see what he's got to say and to see how many people are actually there today.
Absolutely. And how many infinitely more, and maybe not infinitely, but billions more are really connected in the...
All around the world.
Etherically around the world with this intention of, this curious intention of exploring, navigating, and co-creating the new. This is exciting. Our second guest is going to be Aiesha Cosmos. Aiesha is a very talented, synergistic Mayan astrologer. So she actually combines both the dream spell, the Tzolkin, and the Quiche calendars into one synergistic, empowering kind of astrology. So
it'll be interesting to hear her type of astrology as opposed to the regular type that many people know.
Yeah, absolutely. And our third guest, Cal Washington, brings a unique perspective on spiritual sovereignty. He's a pioneer in spiritual sovereignty. So he's bringing a perspective that he's formed over the past 9 or 10 years, being on the front lines, you could say, in taking a stand for people against the old system, against the corrupt system, the money based. We don't need to get into how. I think all of our listeners pretty much are familiar with that system of law and commerce and courts and everything that goes with it. So Cal's been shining light in that area, and he does so from the heart, and his perspective is
a lot
really
of knowledge.
Powerful. Yeah,
a lot of knowledge from Cal. I know I've heard him speak, and he's got a lot to say, and he's a powerful person in his own way, and will give us all an idea of what he's about, and he shines a really bright light on the future and what we can do to empower ourselves, and how that can come about for us. So he'll help us and help us in our future with the system and with people in the system, and how to maneuver and manipulate around into it. So I'm really interested and excited to have him on today. So we've got 3 great ones.
Absolutely.
Coming up.
So let me just ask you to start things off, Florence, what is your feeling? What's happening now? We've heard everything we've heard everything in the past, from doomsday predictions to nothing's happening.
Yeah.
What's in your heart about what are we entering into now?
Well, I think that's why we did this show, and that's why I've come on to do this show, is that I believe the heart level has to come in more into play, and the feminine aspect of the personality has to come into play, and more sensitivity. People are finding they have to relate to people differently. We can no longer use the the masculine, rigid forces that have been controlling us up until now, the last 2,000 years. I think this time we'll issue in a new way of relating to people, and that, of course, is what this show is about: seeding the new. And I've got stories that I've been emailed about, animals being able to sit beside other animals that are actually should be eating them, and now they're able to live together in a more harmonious way, which was all this thing is about. This Mayan thought.
The intelligence of the cosmos, the intelligence of nature, and coming, from a place of where everyone is welcome, everyone is invited, and even the animal kingdom is expressing that. And you're going to share something with us a little bit later, which is really a profound story. I felt
a heart level story.
Yeah, so we're looking forward to that. And I also wanted to share on our website, sacredfireradio.com. We invite everyone listening to go to our website, enter on the right-hand side, enter your email address, and you'll be informed whenever we're doing a show. But I posted yesterday, or a couple days ago, this video of a Mayan elder, and he's very simple-looking guy. He's got he looks like a construction worker kind of, but he's speaking from the heart. And I felt to share this because there's so many people, I know of so many people personally that are really feeling compressed around this time. So we're moving into a greater expression, but at the same time, it's like a lot of people are feeling this
more pressure,
angst, anger,
right?
And that's okay.
Confusion, what's happening?
Exactly, like what is happening and what's behind that. So, so I just would like to read this quote. This is what he said. He said, "The universe is vibrating in a different manner, and you have not realized it yet. The universe is sending vibrations in a different manner, and that is why you feel within yourself this anger and desperation." He says you need to synchronize yourself with these vibrations. Synchronize yourself, he says. Look at the pyramids. Look at the lake, the river, and the ocean. Put yourself in harmony with the universe and see how everything changes.
Wow.
So it's this,
to start to resonate with what's
the new.
real, and the natural order of things around us, and if we're around them and looking at them, we become them, and we become our surroundings and what we put ourselves around and in. Music, listening to good music is another one. Rivers, like you say, that all improves the thymus gland and helps our body and the immune system, and it's all part of the whole that we're having to look at and experience now, rather than splitting ourselves apart. We resonate with the real of who we are, the source.
We're bringing it into oneness, into a oneness in our hearts. Yeah. So this is
beautiful.
Beautiful. Absolutely. Klaus, are we ready to go to Clint? Can we bring Clint on?
And I'd like to just say, if you want to add something to any of this today, we'd like to hear from you. Blog Talk Radio, we can hear you if you're chatting into us. Give us your name and a little message, and we'd be very interested in hearing from you. And also, we have a phone number.
It's 646. If you have any calls, if you want to call into the show over the next 90 minutes, we'll be with you. It's 646. 200-3312. If you want to text or type in a question for any of our guests, you can either do so via the chat module on the website, or on the Blog Talk Radio rather. So you'll have to log in and you can join the chat, or you can add us on Skype and text in or type in your question. So our Skype ID is sacredfire.radio. And you can also, do that, and then you'll see us come online when we do future shows, and it's a great way to keep in touch.
And I'd like to just say that number again. I'll say it a little slower. Grab a pencil and paper. It's 646-200-3312. Love to hear from you, and we're happy to have you today and to be interconnected with you and your heart on this Christmassy season and very, very special Mayan cycle in history, making history on the planet here.
Great.
So I see that we have our guest is here, Clint Clint Carleton.
So Clint is a student and practitioner of energy medicine and traditional shamanism. He teaches fire qigong, the Bronikov method, as well as ancient breath practices to help awaken the energy body. And there he is. Clint.
Hello.
Clint, can you hear us?
Hi, Clint. Welcome. This is Florence, Josh, and Klaus here. We'd like to welcome you today. How is the audio for you?
Hello there.
Hi. Clint.
It's just coming in now.
Okay. Is there a little bit of a delay, or how's the sound?
Yeah, I think we got a little bit of a delay here.
Okay.
I'm just inside of.
Clint's in Mexico, and so he's coming all the way from Mexico on this audio, and there may be a little bit of a delay, so we're going to see if we can work around that.
So Clint, the first thing we'd like to do is obviously, thank you so much for taking time on this sacred Mayan day. We know that you've been sitting with Mayan elders in ceremony earlier today in Chichen Itza, and how was that? And we just would like to ask you to share with us what are you feeling? What's the energy like down there? What's happening down there in Chichen Itza?
Well, thank you for having me on, guys. I just want to thank you for doing what you're doing here. And the energy here in the land of the Mayans is epic as always. Absolutely loving it. I'm here with my family, my daughter Maya, my partner Matilda. We've been connecting in with the ancestral people, the hereditaries, and we've been meditating on peace and forgiveness, which has been really powerful for all of us. Can you hear me? I'm sorry.
Yeah, we can hear you great.
You're coming through well, Clint.
Oh, perfect. Oh, great. Okay. So we're excited about tonight. Actually, is the opening ceremony with the Mayans, where we will be connecting with them at 5:30 tonight. So in a couple hours. So far it's been a lot of meditation, a lot of connecting in with one another, and opening our hearts together, and really feeling the unity vibe that's going on. It's there's been nothing around cataclysmic, doomsday type of thing. It's all been beautiful. It's all been love, and it's really, really wonderful. So,
how many people are there?
I'd say there's probably at Chichen Itza, at the actual ruins, they say that there's upwards of 100,000 today.
Wow.
Okay, so a good show, a good crowd.
It's pretty hard to access it. Even like just the parking is miles down the road. It's pretty wild.
Yeah, that I can imagine. Are you able to take any pictures or that type of thing?
Definitely, yeah. Definitely taking some pictures and some video, and we'll bring some of that back. We can put some of that on the show after, if you'd like. Great.
We'd love to keep in touch with you on Facebook.
So Clint. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Please do keep in touch with us. We would like to go into it maybe right away. And what is your, you said you've been meditating and you've been with groups there over the last few days, opening up the heart and having these experiences, connecting into the new. What does it look like to you? What does it feel like? What is this time about, and where are we going?
Well, what came in this morning, it's been really strong around forgiveness. Forgiveness as a practice.
Mm.
One of the things that one of my elders said was that it's one of the most powerful things that we can do on the planet. We've got all this powerful military might, but the most power that we can actually be part of creating in this world is through forgiveness, and it helps with it connects right down into our ancestral lineage. So we're the forgiveness that we're cultivating in this time is for our mothers, our fathers, right down to Mother Earth, Father Sky, and so we're connecting into grace essentially through that practice.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and right to the heart also. Yeah,
and there's a real remembering. So, as this sort of old density is falling away and this new higher light is coming through, we're starting to remember ourselves. We're starting to remember our connection and why we're here, what we came here to do, and how we each have a very specific role and a very specific part in the whole, which I find it's fascinating. There's nobody that isn't meant to be here and doesn't have a purpose to be here, and we all are unique and very special, and we have a very special place in creation, and we've been gifted that by the Creator. So that's a very inspiring thought form.
Beautiful. And I guess that would just all jog us to look at our own relationships in life and people that maybe we need to do that very thing with, is forgive, and so that we can open our hearts up even more in this coming time. That's an ancient practice. The shamans call that recapitulation, and that the practice of recapitulation is saying the I love yous, the I forgive yous, and I'm sorries that you need to say in your life. It's the practice of death, essentially, because we're always constantly dying and being reborn. So the bodies that we have now are new bodies, and we'll receive again a new body in another 30 to 90 days, I think it is, as a cell reproduction. So what we put into that is what we're going to receive back, and really neat practice.
Clint, are we like waking up out of a dream right now, or are we waking up to this whole new aspect of ourselves en masse that we are? Like, are we realizing that the Creator energy is just moving through us, that we're like a vessel? Or how would you describe this whole awakening shift, this process?
Wow. I mean, you're as good as mine. I guess, and that's a great thing. Speaking with the elders, that they're also very excited. Though they said we've been through this many times on the planet, there's always something new that's being birthed, and so we're all very excited to see how this is going to turn out in the end. What new level of consciousness can we expand into the universe, and that's part of our. That's what they say is our part of our purpose here, is to bring in that, to feel that joy, to feel that connection, to feel that unity. And then to through sharing, through art, through whatever ways we feel like co-creating, we expand the universe with that love, that joy, with that bliss. Yeah. And so that's our part now, to connect to that and to allow it to unfold, and it's already done and it's perfect and there's nothing to do. That's what's been coming through a lot for me. Is just it's simply enough to just be in this time.
And so to move into being conscious of the feelings that you have for other people and the expanded caring that we have at this time of the year. That's a very special time of Christmas. Enough about the presents and all the shopping and the hustle bustle in the world right now. With people, but more to focus on our heart and to care about people and to share more time and being together is a very important part of that. It sounds like more so. I think that's what I've been feeling in the last a while, in a couple of years of Christmas, has been more about let's really get together, and it's not really about the money and the buying and all that. It's more about the feeling and being sharing of moments together with people and creating good memories together.
Connection, yeah.
The connection, yeah.
Yeah, I agree so much with that. The gratitude is like a key to the door right now, and that the inside of our heart, this real special place that connects to that unity grid, and that's the key is through gratitude, through remembering the ancestors, remembering all that we receive and what we're receiving today. I mean, down here is amazing reflection of that, because there's just so much fruit and the trees are abundant and the flowers and the birds right now are just
beautiful
everywhere, and coconuts are falling from the tree full of coconut water that will give you the essential nutrients that you need, and it's like it's amazing. We're on this blue ball hurtling through space at 26,000 miles a second. It's like amazing.
Sounds kind of like
this time. Yeah.
Heavenly down there.
Right. It's pretty amazing. It's easy to. That's why part of why I came is just so that I could get my feet rooted back in the earth and really connect back to this place of appreciation. Yeah, in the heart space. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I have a story to share at some point.
Yeah, let's do that.
I'd love to hear.
Clint, Florence came across this amazing story about, and I know from our previous conversations that I know how much you love animals. I mean, you are just so connected to the heart of nature, and so Florence wants to share something, and maybe that will open up something new in the discussion. But it's pretty cool what's going on in the animal kingdom. So please.
Yeah, animals in our place. I'm sorry, Clint, did I cut you off there?
No, go ahead. No, I'm excited to hear your story.
Yeah, well, it's about a person called Lawrence Anthony. Excuse me. He's a South African legend at the moment because he's done some animal rescues, some elephant rescues, and he's written 3 books, a bestseller called The Elephant Whisperer. And what he did, he's famous for this Baghdad Zoo animal U.S. invasion of 203 that he rescued elephants from that time. And 2 days after he passed away on March the 7th of this year, he had there was an interesting experience that took place down there, and there was separate herds from all over that arrived. There's about 31 elephants that arrived in total outside his house, that had walked for 12 miles slowly, one by one, behind each other. The people, of course, looking out their window, seeing 31 elephants sitting and standing outside of the house, were totally in awe. They had walked these 12 miles kind of in a funeral-like procession to his house and to the outside his home. I think this is, one man dies and hundreds of elephants felt this connectedness to this man that had actually rescued them and saved their lives. And I'm just totally in awe of the interconnectedness that we actually feel together. And I think that, we forget how interconnected we are, but these animals are there. I think this story is something to share, to remind us of the connectedness that we all really have together. And apparently they stayed for 2 days and 2 nights without eating anything, and then one morning they left and went back on their journey back to their house. But I think that was, it just happened this year in 2012 in March, and just another story to remind us of how we really are heartfelt, interconnected, like a place inside us that is kind of this invisible place, like you say, the heart. It's not just the beating flesh heart. There's another place inside us that connects on another whole level, and that's what we're hoping to plant, the seed of that connectedness with everybody here today. Then we'd like to thank you for being part of it, Clint. And so that.
Oh, I got goosebumps from that. Thank you for sharing.
You're welcome. Yeah, me too.
It's interesting because before you called, one of the there's been a lot of information just coming through, and it was around that this shift is happening, these changes, this frequency change, whatever you want to call it. It's happening to the animals as well, and to the plants, and into Mother Earth, and to the Sun, and to all the other planets. It's this shift is happening. The awakening. I've been working with the ayahuasca medicine for many years, and I mean that medicine. She is consciously awakening as well. I mean, she's there's more healing happening in a ceremony now than I've ever experienced before. It is unbelievable what one person can do in one sit with that medicine, whereas before you might have to sort of go on a dieta for years and then you can go back further to where, like Buddha having to sit for a long period of time. I mean, it's getting quicker and quicker where people can awaken and can have these really powerful experiences, and it's really neat.
Yeah, absolutely.
That is unbelievable. That's amazing. Thank you.
Oh, you're so welcome.
I was up. I set my alarm for like 2:55 this morning, Clint, because I wanted to get up and just do a little 20-minute meditation for the time of the exact solstice, which was 3:11 Pacific a.m. Right, and so I'm just doing this simple breath work, and part of me, I still have this thing in my mind, in my left brain, where I'm like, is this real? Is this energy activation thing happening?
Yeah.
In my heart, I know it is, but I was feeling the energy of what was coming in, and it was like, it was so strong that I actually had to stop this breathing technique where I felt like I was going to purge. So I was like connecting in with this whole,
the energy around you is like really powerful.
Yeah, something like that. And it's just a symptom of what's happening on the planet. So that just serves to quieten my left brain a little bit.
There you go, waking up to that,
I would just like to quickly say before we continue on with you, Clint, that if any of our guests have a question for Clint, you can either type it in the chat window in Blog Talk Radio, or Skype us and then type it in via Skype, or call in to the phone number. Mm-hmm. So, Clint, I wanted to ask you about specific ways in which we can really seed this new energy in ourselves and really anchor it in ourselves. And I know you do certain techniques and certain methods. One is, I believe it's called the Bronikov method, and the second is, I know you do time in darkness and time just living on breath, right, without any food or without any. So I was wondering if you could talk about those methods and maybe relate it to ways of seeding in what's happening here in the heart.
Okay. Well, I'll start with the breatharian work. I mean, I've been doing that, working with the breatharians for a few years, and I could call myself a breatharian because I've gone long enough to remove the thought form that physical food, physical nourishment is actually keeping me alive. And that belief was holding me into that paradigm. But I choose to eat food at this point for the pure, sensational, beautiful value of it, and that was a big shift for me. But as far as walking, I think the best thing that I could say right now that's coming through for me is to live in a way that asking yourself when you make an action or a thought or and through your feelings, how does it serve the whole? Does it serve just me, or does it serve the whole? Does it serve everyone involved, including the planet, including our ancestors, our children, and our children's children? That will bring us into an alignment, I believe, with the creation process, this synchronistic order that happens all around us. So again, I like go back to that. Like, there's nothing to do. There's nothing to fix. There's nothing to heal. Just being is the key, but being in a way that is in alignment, being in a way that is for the highest good of all. And the dark root work is really great, and Bronikov work is really great as far as accessing and clearing out the pineal gland, opening up our inner vision. Yeah. When we sit in dark room for more than 6 days, we have natural DMT production, and so I did 12 days, and my crown chakra fully open, which is you've heard of the 1,000-petal lotus flower, and that's actually what it feels like as it opens. These petals start opening on your crown, and then everything went purple, and I could actually go up and out of my top of my head, and there were all these other guides. Ganesh was there, and a few others that have been with me on my journey, and so yeah, and I received many visions about the coming times and visions about myself, and so that is amazing practice. That's an amazing practice, and there are others. And I'd love to share more if anyone's interested.
Okay, so it sounds like the part of you was out and connecting to the world around you on the spirit level, and then there was the part of you that needs to come back and ground and, be there and like you say, share in the earthly eating of food and, the drinking and the eating of being grounded with that. And then there's the balance somehow between those two, is there?
Yeah, exactly. It's like we're kind of like trees. I mean, we can only go up as high as we have rooted down. So the grounding is really the important part, and I think that's what happens in people that really want to ascend and they're not happy here, is that they're really not working in the lower chakras. They're not really in their body.
Yeah.
They're receiving a lot of higher information. They're in an ascended state, but they're not happy, and they're not dealing with the emotions and their relations. So through practice of grounding, qigong is really great, and yoga and these practices open up these other centers and to just clear. And it brings up areas that you need to do your recapitulation, the areas that you need to go and say, I'm sorry, and please forgive me, and thank you, and those things. Yeah.
Yeah, and then
like you said, just being here and being appreciative of all that we're receiving and enjoying those gifts. Yeah.
Right.
Thank you.
And having the mindset of being like forgiving and in gratitude is a very, very important one. That's the message that I've been receiving the last few years. To be grateful for things that you have, not to focus on the things that we don't have and that we want and we're not happy because we don't have them, but be happy for what we have and focus on that rather.
And Clint, I wanted to ask you as well, like you mentioned going into the lower chakras, the lower centers, and could that be seen as just a willingness to go into the uncomfortable or the unconscious or the fears or the darkness, or like how would you describe that process as it relates to our everyday life, being willing to ground and to stay here rather than ascend, not being happy being here?
I guess in the physical, it can manifest as an experience that you maybe know what you should do, you know what your heart's telling you to do, but maybe there's a fear or attachment around it. And usually that will show up as an emotion or an energy in your body. And if you're connected to your body, you can just sort of feel into that place and just say, okay, that's arising for me right now. And what is that? What is that showing me? What is that teaching me? And what would be the highest decision, the highest choice that I can make in this moment? Again, for the highest good of all. And that's, I think, where maybe we have locked down some of those things, is that we've, through fear, attachment to, fear of losing someone, or fear that we've wanted to control the situation, or those types of things. And so, learning to just surrender, let go, and to make a new choice, and to forgive yourself and love yourself, and know that we all make mistakes, and that's perfect part of the process, and it's all forgiven. And now we get to make a new choice based on love, based on unity, based on the highest good of all, and then we can step into true power, our true creative power that we've been offered and gifted on this planet that we just haven't even really tapped into for 1% of it. So, that's where we're going. And Bronikov has been an amazing teacher in that, because he's really, one of his main students was blind, and now he rides a motorcycle blindfolded. And Wim Hof, who can change the temperature of his body through an ancient Tibetan practice called tumo breathing. And so he'll go swimming in the Antarctic and come out steaming hot. And I mean, we're so unlimitedly powerful. We can't even comprehend it yet. So it's exciting.
I see that.
Did that answer your question? Sorry, I might have got distracted there.
No, that was really good. Thank you. That's insightful. We just have, before we wrap up, there's one question from Bill here on on the chat. He says, does prayer raise or lower the kindling temperature of the sacred fire?
Oh, prayer is the kindling for sure. Yeah. It's the spark.
Yeah.
And the fire burns on its own. It's the spark that gives it ignition. And from there, it'll just continue to transform and transmutate anything that is no longer serving. And prayer is the key. Prayer with intent.
Oh, that's a beautiful thought to wrap up with here, Clint. I think we've heard a really interesting interview from you, and maybe we can do another show at some other point with more on the methods that you're using, and maybe go into more detail on that. And we'd be really interested in hearing more about it. So we wish you well in your path down there and with all you're doing. And keep us posted, won't you, with either pictures or just letting us know through texting. We'd sure love to hear how it's going down there as the time goes. So we thank you very much for being on with us. And, we wish you and your family, Matilda and Maya, I hope they're well and doing all they want to do and seeding the new in the time to come for them also. So
thank you so much, and thank you guys for your show and for having me on. I think I'm my first guest, and that's beautiful. Thank you so much. I feel very honored, and I love you both. And Josh, you've been such a great inspiration for me, and I just really love the tenacity of spirit that you carry, and what you're just constantly working for the greater good, and we just need so many more of you, and we're awakening, and they're showing up. I call it my radar. They're just popping up on the radar all over the place, and it's really exciting. And there was a time where I know we felt very alone in this process, and now it's like, oh, there's the tribe. We're really showing up. And so thank you so much for having me, and God bless, and blessings to you and your ancestors and your family, and thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. It's been great.
Yeah, much love, brother. Thank you for those words. Just really quickly, how can people be in touch with you?
Well, I guess you could post my email on there if you want. I could just pass that to you, or they can Facebook me, Clint Carleton.
Yeah. Okay.
Facebook.
If they want to. Yeah, that'll work.
Mm-hmm. Clint Carleton.
Facebook. I call it Crackbook.
Okay.
Great, Clint. Thank you so much. Have a blessed day and just powerful journeys with the Mayan elders. So thanks for being part of this, brother. Take care.
Thank you. One more thing. I'm just starting building a site called Conscious Daddy. It's for all the parents out there, because I feel like conscious parenting in a new way for the new time is really important. So we're going to activate that and bring in those teachings. And hopefully you guys will share that with me and join on. ConsciousDaddy.net.
.net. Okay.
Wonderful.
There you go, folks. Okay. I think.
Okay. So
we'll say goodbye to you then, Clint.
Yep. Take care, Clint, and thank you so much for your heart, brother. And we really appreciate the time. Next, we have Aiesha Cosmos is going to be joining us, and she has over 12 years of experience as a Mayan astrologer and conducts her readings and workshops naturally in a simple, direct language. Her message is of hope and light, bringing inspiration and comfort to all. Aiesha's work with the Tzolkin Calendar is based on the synergy that the ancient Quiche Calendar and Jose Arguelles Dreamspell Calendar create when used for astrological purposes. The synergy steps beyond polarity and separation into unity, aiding one in understanding the growth of humans within social conditioning and serving as a tool to look into our own individual nature as we gain acceptance of ourselves. So, sounds beautiful. I can't wait to get into this.
Yeah, very interesting. I've done astrology of my own in Canadian, American, North American astrology, but this sounds very interesting. Welcome, Aiesha.
Hi.
How is the audio for you? Are you hearing it?
I can hear you well. Can you hear me?
Yes, beautiful. How is it there? And you're calling from Tulum, right?
I am.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for making time to be with us today.
You're welcome. I feel really happy about it too.
So let's get into it. I mean, we're obviously here on a special day. This is the first day of the next Mayan cycle in the calendar, and you are a professional Mayan astrologer, creating your own synergy in that. And so I'm just wondering, like, what is your perspective on this day and this time we're entering into, and the energies of what we're experiencing right now?
Well, I think that today is interesting because since I do work with the synergy of both calendars, the traditional Quiche Mayan calendar actually already ended over a year ago, last October. And because of the way that I work with the synergy, I interpret the traditional frequency that the Quiche calendar taps into to be more related to our inner self and like the inner journey and our personal connection with the elements and with the divine and kind of like our own inner quest. And then the Dreamspell interpretation, I relate to our outer self, the gifts we give to the world, and how, we affect all of those around us. And so because of interpreting it that way, then the Quiche calendar having ended over a year ago is kind of like the end already sort of happened inwardly, and now it's like the outer is catching up, and so now we're like kind of like, finally completely like into the next stage, inward and outward. And so, just taking into account like kind of the Mayan vision on reality, how it all is a dream, and we're creator's dream, and we're, dreaming dreams upon dreams, and all of us are like the cosmic mind dreaming, and it's almost like we're starting to gain lucidity of the fact that we're dreaming, and therefore being able to be more conscious creators of whatever we feel. And in a way, it's kind of like coming to a place of remembering our original promise that we made to ourselves and to each other when we first burst forth from divine consciousness and burst into the light. Yeah.
Huh.
Beautiful.
Yeah, that's what I've been understanding, that this day is special, but it's been more a phase over time in the last little while. Like you say, a year ago that happened, and now this day, and then in the future, more will be manifesting from this.
Yeah, and also because all of reality is this kind of dream energy that you can see very clearly in some points of consciousness and in certain states of meditation. And also if you practice lots of lucid dreaming, you can start becoming aware how things are becoming more pliable in a way, reality, as we lose our social conditioning and just our old concepts, and we start being able to see ourselves more clearly, realize that some things that we thought were kind of dumb about ourselves or shortcomings or something actually have beautiful talents and gifts hidden inside of them, and we start being able to see how radiant we are and just how perfectly we were created, and how it's really not even ever it has never even been true that we have ever made
We just slipped.
Anything. And so relaxing into our innate perfection and our inability to stumble, like we cannot stumble. We are the divine, embodying the divine and populating the physical realm with divine consciousness and love. And if the divine takes as long as it takes to make that happen, then that's just how long we're taking, and that's the best we're doing, and there's no one who could do it better than us.
So just feeling that you're doing the best you can at this time on the planet and in your body and your mind is important, just to accept that where you're at then and work from there.
Yeah. And really trusting everybody, trusting everybody's doing the same.
Yes.
Something I have a challenge with is really doing my work, and I guess you could say that maybe that's the wrong way to put it, using the wrong words, but connecting, meditating, going within and connecting to my heart on a daily basis. I seem to go in waves, and I'm just wondering, from your perspective, how key is it, and how how powerful is it for us to actually just be a little bit disciplined maybe and take time every day to connect to our hearts, and what are some ways that you see that we could do that going into the new way of being?
Well, one thing that I have been sort of awakening to in my own personal exploration is that everybody has different ways, obviously, but that there's also kind of like different ways that consciousness meditates, depending on whether you're more female-oriented or more male-oriented. And both male and men and women have male and female energy, but if you are primarily feminine in your essence, then, you know, like meditation and movement and opening the heart through dance and through just like general like body expressions that help to really ground you in your feelings and in your personal extension and in just flowing and being in the moment. That's like a very feminine form of divine meditation and attunement with just the general changes and flow, which is what the feminine is all about. And for the male-oriented or essence people, it can be more of like a deep resting and just really releasing everything, and maybe, you know, going into darkness and stillness and turning out all the lights and just really resting in almost like just pure consciousness and just being totally just, you know, devoid of anything. And so I'm starting to understand now more and more just in my own practice that, like, for me, meditating sitting down like that never really felt quite natural. But for me, when I am totally dancing in the woods or on the sea and just totally opening, it really is my prayer. And so everybody has like their own way.
Oh, that's beautiful. So you're actively praying, as opposed to what somebody might normally think of just sitting and praying in their mind and being quiet. Then that prayer is expressed through movement more, if you're more in the masculine area. That's a good thought.
Is masculine more like dance and expression, or is that feminine?
No, the feminine is more, the feminine is more dance and expression, and the masculine would be more stillness and silence. And the amazing thing is that they kind of both end up in the exact same thing. It's like, it's almost as if the female, through inclusiveness and total open-heartedness and love, achieves freedom, and the male, by releasing everything and going straight for freedom, ends up, you know, just like totally becoming the love that is at the end of every single freedom quest.
Wow, yeah. Okay. We were talking with Clint earlier about one of the questions I asked him was, what does it look like going into the lower centers, or going into the you know, that part of our body, the subconscious part of our mind. And one thing I noticed is, because I don't dance a lot, I want to dance more, but when I got into 5 Rhythms dancing, and specifically there was this hip opening dance class that I did, I noticed like that night, the next day, all of this subconscious energy coming up. I guess, like, how would you describe that? When we dance, we go into our lower centers a bit, and we're more grounded, and then those energies can come up and be transmuted more, or like what do you think happens there?
Well, there's lots of different levels, and, you know, like babies, when they're in the womb and they are hearing the mom speak and stuff through the water, they actually create like certain twitches and body movements that are actually totally directly linked to different letters in the alphabet and different words and stuff. And then babies, if they're not allowed to crawl, then they cannot speak properly, and they'll have like stutters, or they'll be dyslexic or something. So movement is directly linked to language, and then stories and archetypes, and, you know, it's like body movement is totally like almost like a form of alphabet. And so much of our life growing up is so much of the language that we hear, and all the stories, and, you know, the tales, and just like this constant like language being encoded into our beings. And so a lot of times through dancing you can unlock memories, and you can reawaken different feelings, or you can receive messages or whatever, and body movement is super linked with encodement and language and expression and story.
Yeah, beautiful. Makes sense.
Yeah. So when you're moving, you're bringing up all those old patterns sitting there. That will.
Yeah, because
Mm-hmm.
And you're also moving spontaneously. You're being led in the moment to move and to express whatever is in the moment, wanting to be conveyed through the body without thinking.
Yeah. It sounds like you've got a lot of people around down there. Is there a lot of people in your Mayan day down there that feel that this special time is? Yeah.
Well, we definitely had an awesome ceremony this morning at this really beautiful temple just 20 kilometers south of Tulum. And it was super sweet. And there was a lot of celebration, and a lot of babies were presented to the 4 directions, and all the different directions. And there was we were at the foot of this really sweet pyramid in the middle of this amazing forest, and it was basically all the locals that live here were there, and it was really nice energy. But then I'm also in town right now because the beach where I live doesn't have very good internet connection, and so I'm actually just sitting at like an internet cafe place.
Okay. Yeah, I am aware that Mexico sometimes isn't quite like America in regards to our connections and internet networking. So we thank you so much for doing this, Aiesha, and for putting yourself into this program of Seeding the New.
And we would just like to say that anybody, if you have a question at this time for Aiesha, either on Blog Talk Radio or on Skype, if you want to ask us that. Aiesha, I wanted to get into also, so the theme of the show is, as mentioned, Seeding the New. So if we were just to develop in our minds, just to imagine the way that it could be, or like what we're moving to, how would that look? Like how good? I guess the question we're asking is, how good could it be, living from this place of the heart, completely letting go the old ways of control and those old structures that don't work anymore? How good could it be, and what could that feel like? What does it look like? How could we imagine it and bring that forward to manifestation as a species?
Well, definitely, I think that, in the most ultimate potential, I think the potential is infinite. We are the divine unfolding, so, as amazing as we want it to be, that's how amazing it would be. And I'm sure forever dancing in eternity, we would come up with more and more and more amazing ways to dance even more and more forever. But just in like the beginning of now, I feel like something that can be just a beautiful reality is to really start opening the heart to feel. And this is something that I almost recently became aware of. Like, I had always been tapping into my love and wanting to put my love out there. And then suddenly I got this information that actually all I have to do is open to the love that's already beating at the heart of everyone, even a grumpy person or someone who's an alcoholic or whoever, anybody. Everyone is pure radiant love at their very essence, and every single cell and every heartbeat is powered by pure divine love. So just opening to feel the love beating at the center of every single being, all of a sudden makes me huge, makes me pretty much indestructible. And not only that, but I become a custodian of everybody's love. And so I become highly respected by everybody. They don't even know why. They just trust me. And they just feel comfortable around me because I am resting open as all the love that is. And I am embracing all the love that is in everyone. And that helps me be a more beautiful woman. That helps me be more sweet in the way I speak, but also more assertive. But even when speaking about difficult things, it comes out in this really lovely, poetic ways. And there is never any separation, and so I'm never lonely. And I also have way more energy at my disposal because I almost can draw upon the energy of everybody. And so it's like limitless, the amount of energy I can have. And so for men and women to do that, to just really open to feel the love that is in everyone, and then also that opens us to feel whatever hurt there may be there, or whatever, walls or anything. And I think that being able to feel that from that open place just it's almost as if that vulnerability or that insight, because it's different for men and women. You know, for a woman you might feel more vulnerable and exposed, and for a man all of a sudden you might be able to feel things you didn't even know that you could feel. And so in those two ways, I think that open-hearted, just openness to feel each other even in moments of anger or when we're having an argument or whatever, just makes it so that the foundation of everything that's taking place is love, and everything else are just the little kinks that we're working out as we are already loved. And then the amount of creativity and cooperation and all of that branches out of just being in that open love place is, I don't know, I mean, we can probably just create, I don't know, like a whole divine situation together.
It sounds like you start yourself resonating at a certain place, and then when you're resonating, you're attracting other people's hearts to open. And because you're not threatening them, you're open, and they can feel that. I think people do feel that invisible thread there when people's hearts are open, and then they don't have to be in their ego and try and do better.
And it's like a kind of alchemy, isn't it? When you choose to have a perspective shift and you choose to see somebody and connect in the heart. I mean, that's alchemy, isn't it, Aiesha?
Yeah, I think that is just one of the most powerful things anybody can do, because not only, you know, you can say, oh, you're doing it because you're helping the universe or you want to make a better world or whatever, but all those altruistic reasons in the end are really silly, because in the end it makes such a difference for you. You are the one that all of a sudden is being spoken to with respect. You all of a sudden are the one that people are trusting. You all of a sudden are the one that people are looking at with love. You are the one that people are being kind to. You are the one, and that changes everything. You're making it happen. You know, you're making it happen by being open and loving, but the world treats you with love too.
That's kind of like that pebble in a puddle. It starts in the middle and goes out, hey?
Yeah, and it's irresistible, really. Like, it's immediate. Like, the second you start opening in that love, it's like within a couple hours, you already will be having radically different responses from the world.
Yeah, so you said the second you open in that, like, for when we're in that place of feeling triggered or not in our heart, what's the best ways, or what's some ways that you use to quickly get to the heart?
Well, for me personally, I think that really coming back to the moment, and obviously I live in the jungle and by the sea, but sometimes I forget to greet the birds or the trees or to say hello to the moonlight, you know, and so to just like come back to just be like, oh yeah, you know, I am part of this like grand family, and I open and I'm like, hello everybody, and to just even if I notice that I'm doing it while I'm on the computer or something, I can all of a sudden just breathe deep and just choose to feel the love that is all around me. Like, it's almost as if every time I feel limited and small and kind of like cramped and contained, to just really allow myself to expand and to just really reach out all of my feely tentacles and just breathe deeply and relax into just all the love that's available there all the time.
And it's like it's okay to do that. It's safe. There's so much love. Everything is just love anyway. So I guess when we stop making a story that we're not safe to do that is when we give ourselves permission to do that and just to really be the big heart energy that we are, right?
And it's irrelevant if you're not looking at anybody. You don't have to be like in a public place, or like you don't have to outwardly behave in any different way. It just makes a huge difference because of your vibration. That's it.
I think that that was mentioned earlier in the show about being grateful and just sitting with the feelings of how we are now feeling good about ourselves and all we have, and getting on that resonation of just being in gratitude starts the thought of that good loving thought inside us, and counting our blessings, and then it just kind of expands from there. It can expand from there. It sounds like a positive thing, that it starts positive and it begets more positive.
And then it makes me think of like tomorrow, which would be, like this really big shifting towards, I don't know, whatever. The energy in the Mayan calendar is empowered by the moon for a long time in this next cycle, and the sign of the moon has all to do with the positive and negative emotions, the cycles of light and dark, and water, and just going into the subconscious. And it's kind of like when you go through really amazing times, sometimes we can become ungrounded, and when we go into really dark times, we can get so oppressed and lost. And the center piece that keeps it all together is gratitude.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Well, that brings me to an actual question for you. Your readings, do you use, what do you use to do your readings with, Aiesha? Is that a birth date that you would need for that, or?
Yeah, I do day, month, and year, and then I use both calendars, and I have a few different readings that people can choose from. The one that I do the most is the reading for the year.
Okay.
Which starts on every year on your birthday, and then I record the session and I email the session to people so they can have it to listen to again and again and again.
I see.
And so if we were to do that reading for today, like if this was somebody's birthday, let's say, like what's the energy for the next year, like if this is the day, or is that something is that how you would do it, or not really?
Yep. Well, like today, in the inner self is finding stability and creating solid foundation for total enlightenment and unconditional love and surrender and acceptance, and becoming the eternal divine child, the master of all the arts, being willing and ready and able to just step into the beautiful, radiant life that you are already born to live, without feeling like there's anybody you have to wait for, or that anybody has to become more enlightened for you to already just be able to enjoy a beautiful piece of music, or do an amazing picnic, or tell an amazing tale to a child, or go sit under a radiant, beautiful tree and just look at how the leaves sway in the breeze. Is the energy of the sun, is the energy of also being empowered by the warrior, questioning ourselves, reanalyzing our strategy, like really getting to the bottom of, well, what is our direction? Our direction, I mostly feel, is, well, the unfoldment of our total true nature. And so I think anybody would want our ultimate goal to be absolute inner peace and total self-realization and feeling of total love and freedom. So since that is the compass that points the way, then to be able to always come to a place in the center of the self, asking the self, is what I'm doing right now in alignment with my direction? Is this house I'm living in, or this relationship I'm in, or how I'm feeling in my job right now, and at times in the beginning when we make a choice, it might seem like that's the best choice we can make in the moment to go in a certain direction, and so every choice is right. But then at some point down the road, we can reanalyze that and maybe be like, oh, well, maybe now's the time to make a new strategy. You go to battle with a certain idea of how you're going to fight and everything, but all of a sudden, if it was dry and then it starts raining and now it's muddy, you might have to reconsider, what your tactics were. And so that's for this year. And the direction of the now is hidden because our purpose is the earth. And so for this next cycle, our destination or our goal is veiled. So we're in the mist and we can't see, and we just have to develop a lot of trust and a lot of faith. Oh. And yes?
Yes. Okay. I'm hearing you there. That's yeah. Sorry about that. Josh, you had something you wanted to say?
No. I'm just thanking you for this.
I'm thinking we're having to wrap up with this our time, Aiesha. I'm so sorry, but it's just gone by so quickly. You've got so much interesting to say to us, and you've filled us with lots and lots of ideas in regards to your readings and the Mayan time to come, and how we can improve ourselves in our surroundings and within ourselves.
And if anyone wants to connect with Aiesha, her website is on our website on the main page. If you go to sacredfireradio.com, and her website is alejandralibulula.com. I'm not going to spell that out, so so go to our website and check that out. But on behalf of Klaus and Florence and myself, Aiesha, thank you so much for being here on this special day and for speaking to us from the heart and helping us seed the new. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful day.
Thank you, you guys too. It's so lovely that you guys are doing this.
All the best to you, and keep in touch with us, Aiesha. We'd love to do another show with you and perhaps get more information about the actual readings that you do. It would be interesting.
I would love to. Just let me know.
Okay, good,
Yep.
good. All right, well, happy Mayan time to you.
And same to you.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
So welcome back.
That's right.
We're back.
Thanks.
And
Thanks,
thank
Cal.
you, everybody, for joining us, for being here.
Mm-hmm.
So, Klaus, are we on? Do we have Cal on the call, within the Skype call?
He should be.
Okay. And there was the music again, so I think we're on track. I think we've succeeded, and this is all the glitches that you have to go through in order to do the first show that you've never done before, or something like this. So, again, we thank you so much for your patience and the time that you're giving us in this new time on the planet. We're historically never been here before, and we're making new tracks and planting new seeds, and it's the ending of lots of things. It's the beginning of new things, and we like to ask Cal a few questions. He's been a pioneer in this path that we're walking to try and get from the rigid structure of being told what to do and being pushed and into ways that really don't work for us anymore. And Cal has got some ideas and is facilitating helping people to push through this rigid structural system that we have, and it's an important time in our history that we have lots of work to do and people that will help us change. Cal's one of them. He's presenting a very powerful idea here, and in the next little while you'll be able to hear him talking about his way of acting and speaking.
So, Cal, are you with us here?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Thanks.
So I was just asking before we got disconnected there, what is your experience of the new? How do you see this transition going into the new, and what is this about? Is this about going into the heart? Is this about, coming from the Christ energy as you experience it, or what is your perspective of this profound time?
I tend to stick with what the Bible says, and it says we're moving into a new age or the kingdom of God. You can look at it cosmically. We're moving into the age of Aquarius. There's many different ways of looking at what's happening, but the main thing is we're moving from an old paradigm to a new paradigm. And the old paradigm can't work in the new paradigm, so there has to be some change.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So you're a change maker. Would you say is that your role in this? Because I know you've been on the front lines and bringing light to dark or corrupt systems for a long time.
Yeah, I would say so. I didn't ask for this, but I just sort of fell into it. And, as you go along, you kind of learn as you go, and you start to see more, and more truth is revealed to you. As you move sort of from one stage to another, the next thing comes to you, and you start to see more and more of the big picture.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And what is the big picture? Like, who are we, and where are we in all this? All the big questions. How would you see them as they relate to this time?
Well, we are sons and daughters of Adam, and that's a created being that was created by God. he breathed his life into us, and there's a certain DNA that goes along with that.
Mm-hmm.
The DNA is like a transmitter receiver, for lack of a better term, and it picks up frequencies and can make changes. So we are very powerful beings. We just don't know. We've been told some untruths, and so we don't know exactly who we are as far as reality. But we have just glimpses of it.
Yeah.
But the main thing is there is information that's coming, and the changes are going to be happening, and they're already starting to happen in the new generation that's coming up. The children that are being born lately are a lot more advanced than as human beings than
mm-hmm.
we have been in the past. So the changes are really happening, and this day is sort of just a marker of the actual pulse of when we move from one to the other. But the change is more of it's spread out. It started long before this, and it's going to continue until it's fully changed over.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we're in a transition, and this isn't like a one day transition, but perhaps
mm-hmm.
today is like just a significant day symbolically. Is that how you see it and you feel it, and the shared intention creates sort of like a transmission or like an energy experience that a lot of us are feeling today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for me today and yesterday don't feel a lot different.
Mm-hmm.
But this is like a clock, it's like a cosmic clock, so you can see the time when things are supposed to change, and you can actually take action at that time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes, it's just been a whole different mindset for people. They are needing to react differently to situations that arise for them. A lot of people are feeling a lot of more pressure, and so they're needing to react differently to these different situations coming up. It's calling for a lot more heart sometimes, a lot more, like we just talked about, forgiveness, and talked about gratitude, and mm-hmm. start to vibrate differently in our everyday world. And you're starting to see the fabric of the existing system a little bit differently. That's needing to change. Are you?
Yes, and the main thing is love. Really, that's what it comes down to.
Mm-hmm.
And if we start to act more from our heart and from a position of love, we'll be more in tune with the new paradigm that's coming, and away from separation and greed and this is mine and that's yours, and
mm-hmm.
don't touch my thing, and
mm-hmm.
why would I help you? I got this is me. We need to start thinking more of we are one being, and work together as one man. Really, that's where the power is.
Yeah.
And I saw the other day during the snow thing. There were some people just out in Granville Street, on First Street, just off the bridge, and
mm-hmm.
there was a guy out there just pushing people. He was just no motivation for it, and he's not getting paid. He's not a homeless person. He just saw a need, and he just started pushing cars.
Oh, so
helping them. Yeah.
I don't know how long he stayed there, but that's the attitude we have to have is this.
Yeah.
We are all one, and just
and
work
that
together.
Someone else's pain is also our pain, and we need to work together to release it and to move forward together with everybody. Yeah, that was a beautiful intention he had to help people. It's a very stressful time when it's snowing and people are fishtailing all over the place and stuck. So he was giving a hand, was he?
Yes.
Beautiful.
Well, that reminds me of what Aiesha was saying earlier about when we choose. It really struck me. Choosing the perspective of just seeing people from the heart and seeing the heart, and
mm-hmm.
it's almost like just in making a
mm-hmm.
divine, making a choice, just
mm-hmm.
to have that perspective.
Mm-hmm.
She was saying that the universe respects her more and loves her and blesses her more, or people around her
mm-hmm.
do that as well. So it's like when we do that, I guess
mm-hmm.
it's blessing ourselves, and I guess that's when our whole world can change.
Well, sure, because like you said, Cal, that he's pushing these people, but after that experience stops, he's still having that experience of being the giver, and the people that are receiving are still having that experience of being cared about, and on it goes, and he'll go home and treat it differently, and the other people will go and expand on that feeling to other people around them. And I think that you're saying a very good thing about this. The world's got to do more of that, and enough of this controlling and manipulation and all the other part that we very often meet in the daily life. That Christmas especially also is part of that light that we have to shine, and be more of that. Beautiful story, sure.
And there are a lot of illusions on the planet now that have been going on. We were born, everybody listening and everybody here now was born into it. And the idea of countries and, separation of races, separation of gender, these are all illusions, and they're not real. This is a planet inside of a solar system that's inside of a galaxy, and that galaxy is also part of another system, and on it goes. And when you look at it from that perspective,
fractal.
The idea of Canada being here and the 49th parallel being some kind of border, it's an illusion. It's not there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The birds fly south, from, like, say, a Canada goose. When it flies south, it doesn't check in at the 49th parallel. It just flies to where it's going, right?
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
I'm not aware that it's moved from one country to another because it's not there. It's an illusion.
Right. It's our created borders and what we've had to adhere to.
So Cal, I have a question. So everything is connected, everything is one, but at the same time, you talk about spiritual sovereignty, right? And so, if you're sovereign, you're kind of like an individual as well. So as I understand it, it's a paradox. But how would you describe that, the separation and the oneness that seem to be happening at the same time? Like, can you put any words to that, or does that question even make sense?
Well, it still is one. It's like if you understand what a fractal is, you can look it up if you don't know. But fractal is the smallest part is the biggest part, and the biggest part is the smallest part. It's just a repeating
pattern.
It's still one thing, right? Yeah. So in the Bible, when the Jews were coming out of Egypt, the Moses story, that's a small version of what we're about to go through now on a bigger scale.
Yeah.
But it's also a larger version of what a person goes through to free themselves and all the struggles that go on inside just one person, right? So it's all the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. So we're taking back our power, but from the heart, right?
Yes.
Mm. Right. And you talked about our Earth inside a galaxy and a solar system, et cetera. And also you can go inside us, and there's also those same places inside us, and I think all the way down to being interconnected to each other through our heart and through experiences that we have, and that we are also a galaxy within us and within everybody, that we are part of each and everybody. And then I think this time that we're coming into, we're having to explore that more. Part of exploring the heart more is to minimize the pressures that we have in our life on our physical level and our legal systems and all these things that we're told that we're supposed to do and react to. Take away from that interconnectedness of the heart. Rather, it puts us in a
they create barriers
practical,
like bureaucratic separation and impose have to do things and have to jump through hoops and stuff like that.
More of the separation, don't you feel, Cal?
Yes, exactly, and that's part of the agenda that's here, is to distract us from the bigger picture and get us looking more straight out instead of up, and worrying about how we're going to pay our rent and all these things that are really illusionary, because the planet is designed to give constantly and to keep and replenish itself and keep giving. But if we keep following this money system, we're wrecking the planet, and it's all to do with money, right? So we need to get back to basics and work together and understand what's really going on here. And the planet will sustain every person on this planet.
Yeah.
It's designed to do that.
Yeah. I'm, as you know, I'm directing and producing an upcoming film called Take Back Your Power. And really my intention is to put the heart energy, the inspiration into that. But like you say, I mean, it's on multiple levels, right? And the energy, the electricity is a big part of that. Moving that from a centralized, being metered out, being charged through the nose for something that, like we know that there's all these patents that have been suppressed where people can produce their own energy. So it's happening on multiple levels. And I know you mentioned the fractal example, the truth of how that is in the universe. But even on this becoming sovereign, as you say, that's happening on multiple levels, isn't it?
Exactly. So each person has to understand their own position and deal with their own stuff, and we need to work together as a group, and it goes on and on and on all the way up, right? So that we can get free.
Yeah.
Jesus said, "You will know the truth, and the truth will set you free." So this is going to happen. They can't stop it. Nothing's going to stop this.
Yeah.
Unless we choose to dive back into this paradigm. But most people are tired of this, and whether they really understand what's going on or not, they just know this isn't working, and we need something new, right? So,
Whereas I think the masculine rigid structures that have been in place for so long are needing to be what I would call feminized, or made more sensitive, or more open and receptive.
Awakened,
definitely.
I would disagree. I wouldn't say feminized, but I get what you're saying from the heart.
Okay, as opposed to rigidity, more flexibility and more caring and soft areas that we need to instill in our everyday life and our structures. And Cal, you're part of that and helping us to see that.
What does that look like, Cal? What does the awakened masculine look like? Because it seems like there's not really any role models in our culture.
Well, I would say, without being religious, pick up a Bible and read what Jesus did. He's a perfect example of exactly what we have here, right? And just read his words and do his words, and it will work. We've just bought into this commercialized system, and on the other hand, there's slavery in some other parts of the world, and poverty, and this is all by design. There are people or beings that are controlling this, and it's done on purpose. And we just have to wake up to that and realize that we don't have to follow that model, and follow a different model, and it will work.
Yeah.
Do you think that we can make a peaceful transition then in this?
I don't know. I think it will be rough. Again, the Bible talks about the change that's coming as childbirth, and I have 5 children, and there's been when you're around that, there's quite a bit of pain and discomfort and blood, guts. It's quite messy at the transition, but once it's over, then there's the new life, and all that turmoil is forgotten, right? So it'll be and we're going through it now. I mean, there's lots of turmoil, so it may intensify a little more, but eventually we are going to hit a point where it just switches over, right?
And would you say, like, our connection with our heart, connection with God, with the divine, whatever label, is that? It seems to me that there's nothing ultimately to fear if we go with that, and if we go with who we really are, and that will protect us in any kind of transition anyways, right?
Exactly. And, we have hospitals for childbirth now, but, obviously we came from somewhere, and our ancestors were able to bear children without any knowledge or medical knowledge as we know it now, and still the race has proliferated. So it's similar to that. We don't have to know all the answers of what's coming, but live from the heart, live from a point of love, and the opposite of that is fear. So you just don't want to be in fear.
Yeah.
And anger is kind of a transition emotion. You don't want to stay there either. You kind of want to get past fear, and if anger will push you forward, then move to love and peace, and just move towards it. And as more people do it, there's the 100th monkey syndrome. We will all pick up the behavior, right? And all at once, just like a flock of birds or a school of fish, how they all just move at once. We are one like that, right? So.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, now, just got a question here from your perspective. I know that you resonate with the Bible, and it talks about 1,000 years of peace. And what's your perspective on that? And are we going in that direction? How could it look after the transition? What's an image that we could hold? I know there's a lot of questions there. Sorry, just pick one of those.
Yeah. Well, it will be a time of peace, of real peace, real love, real joy, no strife. There will, the Bible says there won't be tears. People will live in harmony, and there won't be this greed or any of those types of behaviors, because they just won't make sense.
Yeah.
And once you come to a higher truth, the old truth just doesn't make sense anymore, right? So, a lot of people thought the world was flat for a long time, and to go back to that, it just, why would you? It doesn't. It's just it's just stupid, right? So we understand that the world is a globe, and you will never get people to go back without a catastrophe and starting over, right? Because people just aren't going to believe that.
Right. We've got a comment from somebody that says, we've forgotten who we are and what we really are capable of because of being dumbed down by societies. And I wondered if you had any comments back to that person.
Yeah, that's definitely true. There's we were made very, very powerful. Adam was a very powerful being. And there's some event that happened, and since then there's been a lot of deception and dumbing down. Our DNA is almost all off, as compared to the amount of connections that can be made. But as you move into love, the more connections start to be made, and then whatever happening cosmically is also coming down and changing our DNA. So, yes, that is a valid comment. And if you read the Book of Enoch, which is not in the canon but should be, you'll see a story there of what happened, and that we were taught a lot of these things like war. We're not warmongers. We don't naturally move towards that, but we can be taught it, right? We can be taught racism. We can be taught
programmed.
All these negative behaviors, and especially when you teach them as children. But if left on our own, we wouldn't naturally move towards that. We are designed as loving beings, and we just need to move back to what we are designed to do, right?
Yeah. Yes, we kind of default back to the heart if we're allowed to.
And it seems like it's happening to us, and we're choosing it at the same time. I mean, maybe it's like we're meeting God or the universe halfway. I know that you've kind of gone through experiences that lead you now in a position. We talked about this previous to the show, but you don't have any fear. And so, how could people specifically? I mean, we know that we have this feeling we're moving, or transitioning into something, a higher way of being, just from our choice to go on that path. But still, we're dealing with these fears, right? So, what would you say to somebody in that position who's feeling those fears and wondering, how can I move past this? And for example, I feel like my soul is here to do something, to express something in this life at this time, but I'm afraid to take a risk. I'm afraid of what people will think, or if people are just being honest with themselves, having to deal with these fears that come up. What would you say to that?
Well, that's tough because everybody has that going on, but and that again goes to the exodus of Moses, and he had to deal with a lot of different personalities to move that many people out of a slavery position into a freedom position, and there was some who didn't want to go; they wanted to go back.
Yeah.
And there were some who were fearful. There were some who said, "Who made you the boss?" There was ego. All these things are all inside of us. So there is a higher part of each of us, and there's a cognitive part. You have to sort of decide that I'm going to follow this because it makes sense that if we don't, we're going to die. This slavery thing will kill us.
But that's not really an option. I mean, it seems like the consciousness and divine is not heading us in that direction, right? It seems like the mind wants to think that we're going there, but we're not. No,
I mean, God wants to pull us into the back to the Garden of Eden and into a beautiful situation. Now, there are other beings here who don't want that, and they play on our fears, and they use the television and the mass media to get information across to the group mind. And so you have to kind of break free from that and look at things. The way I do it is I look at, I just go back to the phrase, this is a planet that is self-sustaining. It's part of a solar system that is part of a galaxy that is part of something else. And when just raise yourself up there and look at it, and then everything seems ridiculous, right?
That's perspective.
So,
we have one more comment. I think this is quite valid. I feel a lot of people want to live within the heart. People are afraid, especially when it comes to survival, to break free and be free. It's got to be, there's got to be able to be free and to not have to think of the pressures of money and all those types of things. But I mean, that's what she's saying, that to live within the heart, that it's hard to do that because people are needing to survive, and I guess that's where the fear comes. So,
what do you think about that, Cal?
Yeah, it's a valid point, but it's still the planet is self-sustaining. Like, there's trees that grow out of the ground and fruit comes off them every year.
Yeah.
It's seed in them that grows another tree. If you just look at the design, it's amazing, right? So the planet will sustain us. We just have to get away from the controllers who are turned it into a slave planet, see them for what they are, and there's very few of them, and they don't have a real hold on it. It's very fragile, their hold. We just have to kind of wake up and realize what's been going on, and the systems are in place to move food, but because there's certain people in control or certain beings in control, it's not happening. So it wouldn't take much to get things moving in a proper way, and there are lots of people working on these things behind the scenes that are, they're being suppressed. There's lots of free energy ideas that are out there, and they're not in the mainstream, but they're sitting in the aisles waiting, and we just have to have the change first. So
and so as people can participate in bringing those technologies out and bringing like light to what that deception or that cover up, right? It's not just sitting there waiting for it and feeling good in the heart, though that's part of it. But it seems like there's this whole other active part that we're being called to
participate in some way.
Yeah.
Yes, and you have to get over the fear, live in the heart, and as more people do this, there will be a change. The Bible says that there will be a change in the twinkling of an eye, and it's the 100th monkey syndrome. You can look that up as well, and it's I don't want to get into it, but
so we need to talk to each other and share with each other what we're feeling and ways to move forward with it. So perhaps
exactly. There are natural systems that are unseen that if enough of us just move that way,
Yeah.
the whole planet will move. It's designed that way, and you can see it. Watch a flock of birds.
Yeah. They're synchronous.
There isn't one leading and then the others follow. They all move at once.
That's right. This interconnectedness in the heart is what we've been talking about, Cal. And, we'd love to talk more about that to you. Maybe another show we could follow up on and talk more detail on all this and have a real dialogue going with it. So, but unfortunately, right now, our time is really calling short here. So, boy, we've really enjoyed hearing from you. You've been a real a powerful speaker in what your ideas are.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah.
I really appreciate I really appreciate your leadership and even just willing to live without fear, and how many people that can affect.
Mm-hmm. Right. A pebble in a puddle. You're a good pebble. But we hope to follow up with you on another show, Cal. And
thank you so much for your time. Have an amazing.
Honored to be here.
And helping us seed this new time for us all. So great.
Okay, bless you, Cal. We'll talk to you soon.
Keep in touch.
All right.
Okay.
Peace.
All right. Peace.
Bye.
Yeah, so that was our 3 guests. Thank you so much to all our guests and our listeners. We thank you for joining in today. We have a meditation, I believe.
Yeah, just to finish it off, what I felt really last night before, we were meditating and we were kind of getting ready for the show, and then last night this kind of came to me. And Klaus, if you want to start that, there's one song that I just want to close the show and to wrap this experience of the first Sacred Fire show. And we thank you so much for joining us on this broadcast. This is a co-creation, so you participating even energetically just helps to send that love out that we're all anchoring in, the new divine light and that love that's coming out of our hearts. And we thank you for that and honor you for that. In
saying goodbye to everybody, we'd like to again, just thank you for being here and touching base with us, and we hope you join us again in a following show. And thank you for all the emails and the text messaging to everyone. I'm sorry we couldn't get to everybody out there, but just to see you.
And thank you so much, Klaus, and thank you, Florence, on behalf of the 3 of us. I'll just read this, and then we'll go into a place of feeling in our heart for a few minutes. If you would join us, we'd be honored. As we close the show and enter into the new, we invite you to gently close your eyes and breathe deeply. Imagine and see yourself as feeling completely safe, having let go of the old ways of control, and completely empowered from your heart. You can feel the presence buzzing in your chest and living harmoniously with the new. Over the next 3 or so minutes after we sign off, the music will continue, and we invite you to continue breathing into your heart, seeing and feeling the fruit of these new seeds. How good could it be? We are the awakening and the transformation we want to see. Stay in touch and see you soon.